Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Friday, the 1st of April. It's April Fool's Day, of course, and we've got three fools here, myself, Derek Clark, joined by Johnny McFarlane and Joshua Barry. Joshua, how are we getting on?
You've had that planned, haven't you, for a while? Yeah, no, good. Looking forward. Great to be here talking before an Old Firm, isn't it? Really looking forward to the game. So looking forward to chatting about it.
Yeah, and Johnny joins us as well, a full squad this morning. How are we getting on this Friday morning, Johnny?
Yeah, good. Lovely sunny day here in Glasgow, looking out over the city and hoping for, obviously, a good result at the weekend, I think. So we'll discuss that in a bit more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we do that, folks, looking ahead to the game on Sunday, if you're just joining us for the first time, watching us on YouTube, thousands of you are now doing so. If you hit that subscribe button, it means that you'll never miss a video when we go live. And even more importantly, we've got a fantastic offer on the Rangers Review website just now, just £1 for 2 months worth of content. Now, not only that, you also get entered into a prize draw to win a tour of Ibrox with a club legend. It really is a fantastic deal on just now. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to find out all the details, and you can see the little ticker down below. We'll put the link in the comment section as well, so you can hit the link there after the video, and you can find all the details about how to subscribe. Just £1 for 2 months worth of content. Okay, folks, let's talk about the news. And we woke up to a statement from the Sydney Super Cup organisers. This follows a decision from Rangers yesterday saying that they're withdrawing from the tournament. If you want to see an instant reaction to that video, Johnny and Joshua recorded a video yesterday afternoon, and you can find that on our social media accounts and on our YouTube and Rangers Review website as well. However, the organisers for the event have come out, and the statement reads, Rangers can confirm the club will not be participating in the Sydney Super Cup in November 2022 after it became that's the Rangers statement. After it became clear the tournament organisers were unwilling to fulfil their commitments to Rangers, we have with immediate effect terminated the club's agreement with the organisers. And now the promoters TEG Sport and Left Field Live have released their own statement, which reads, we were disappointed to wake up this morning to Rangers FC's statement that it will not be participating in the Sydney Super Cup. The Rangers board committed to these matches following extensive negotiations over 8 months. Seemingly in response to negative fan reaction, they have pulled out of their contracted commitment. We have worked closely with all stakeholders to bring this exciting event to Sydney, and we refute any suggestion that we were unwilling to fulfil our commitments to Rangers. We have acted in good faith and have put the event on sale with a great response from fans here. And finally, in changing their minds, the Rangers board has let down many, many fans in Australia and the Asian region. We will now consult with our stakeholders before determining our response. Now, Johnny, you've written a piece on this on the website about the state of play and why Rangers are no longer taking part. We'll just briefly touch on the statement from the organisers coming out this morning. What do you make of it all?
Well, Derek, it's kind of what you would expect, isn't it? I mean, I saw a piece by Vince Rugani, who's obviously one of the premier sports journalists out there in Australia, saying that Rangers could face legal action. Yeah, they could. Whether they will or not, I suppose, is another story. I've got to say, I honestly think that they'll look back on this and say it's probably for the best, because if you look at all the concerns that are going on over there with the two main Sydney Supporters Club of Rangers talking about how they're going to segregate that stadium if that game went ahead, how they were going to get the buses sorted out, transport to the stadium, policing. It was just going to be a very difficult proposition. I don't think they really got their heads around what they were dealing with. I think they thought it was going to be another sort of tailgating and barbecues and beers outside the ground and everybody happy and, you know, a festival of football. No, lads, that's not what's going to happen. We need to get realistic here. So I suspect they'll move on and get another club in, and, you know, that's what will happen. I think Rangers seem pretty confident that they are on solid grounds, to make this move. So we'll see how it goes on. I've got to be honest, though, I'm certainly looking forward to not talking about this or writing about it again. It's been a tough one because you've got fans on one side and fans that run the club on the other. And really, let's be honest, you look at where we're at this April, you've got 3 games against Celtic, likely. You've got 2 games against Braga. And when's the semi-final? Is the semi-final scheduled for...
2 weeks on Sunday.
Sorry?
17th of April.
No, I'm talking about the semi-final of the Europa League.
Yes. It's the last Thursday in April, I'm sure. If I'm not mistaken.
I thought you said that to me. So potentially that as well. I mean, what an incredible month. You will not see another month like this, potentially for a long, long time. I can't remember another month like this. I know you're tempted to go back to 2008 and what happened towards the end. I don't think there was quite a month with this intensity, though, in 2008 in terms of big fixtures. So it's going to be remarkable. It's day 1 of April, and by the end, we'll know a hell of a lot more about where this title's going to go, where this Europa League's going to go, and obviously where the Scottish Cup is going to go. So that's, I think, where our focus should go. I think the club have done the right thing, as Malky says. They've moved to sort out a situation that was clearly toxic. And now, hopefully, people can go back to focusing on what's good for the club, which is the football. One thing I would say is, I think there's recognition there at Rangers that this has been an error. That goes without saying. And I still think there has been and will be criticism of the boards over this, but I think you have to look at it coldly now that it's done and reflect on it properly. I don't think anyone at the club was doing this because they wanted to create a controversy like this. Clearly, it was about trying to facilitate more money through the doors, which is important because that's what funds the transfers and helps strengthen the squad. And it's been a misjudgment, but it's not been a misjudgment out of badness. It's been a misjudgment out of a failure to fully, I think, understand and take the temperature of the support around Celtic at the moment. Maybe they did understand that, but they felt like it was a move that was worth taking, given the finances involved. But they've moved to sort it out now, and I think it's time to sort of put it to bed and move on to this massive game on Sunday.
Yeah, and I do feel a bit sorry. I mean, James Strachan says a bit sad for us in Australia. I do feel sorry for the Rangers supporters in Australia. They were looking forward to that, but I'm sure that they'd understand the reasoning behind the decision to withdraw from it. Interesting point here from S. Bergner, just in terms of housekeeping. If you try now, he said he tried to subscribe to the website a while ago, but couldn't do so. If you try now, head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. If you're still having difficulties, we'll try and help you out with regards to that.
Let us know on DM on Twitter. We can sort you out.
Yeah. We'll get that sorted. Some comments coming in here, Joshua, with regards to Alfredo Morelos. Now, we all seen the photographs of him in crutches in Glasgow Airport yesterday. There is a thought that he was heading down to London for a possible scan. Now, we've not got anything concrete on that. We are speaking to Giovanni van Bronckhorst this afternoon ahead of the game on Sunday. However, if they are genuine, it doesn't look good, does it, in terms of him playing on Sunday, Joshua?
No, and as we said, me and Johnny said yesterday afternoon, it doesn't look good for the rest of the month because, Roof, I don't think many people, especially because Roof's looked a lot sharper. He wasn't away in international duty. Because if Roof had been away and played 2 games for Jamaica, I think this would be a very different conversation ahead of Sunday. But it's unlikely that Roof goes and plays 6, 7, 8 games in the month of April. So you're just hoping that Morelos is okay. As you said, Derek will be speaking to the manager this afternoon, so that'll be when the kind of concrete information comes in surrounding it. But it would be you've seen how much of a blow Morelos was in the previous Old Firm. Obviously, there was so much wrong with it. But I think Morelos' kind of absence only compounded it. Rangers couldn't get up the pitch, couldn't hold the ball at the pitch. And Morelos, he's a better player than Roof. Roof might be a better finisher, but it definitely would be a little bit of a downgrade in my opinion. So we'll have to wait and see. I think I'd rather this situation being at Ibrox than at Parkhead, as I say, because I think Morelos is so important away from home in games like this in terms of getting you up the pitch and being able to isolate defenders. And Roof, given he's coming off the last month of making some pretty big goal contributions. And as we said yesterday, me and Johnny were speaking about it, him being a better finisher, and you need his goals in the team. Obviously, this isn't the way you want to get his goals in the team. But hopefully you have a situation where Roof's culminating towards the end of his fitness, top of his fitness. So is Aaron Ramsey, and maybe players coming back a little bit refreshed from the international break, and Rangers can put on a performance with plenty of energy, because that will definitely be required.
Yeah, Derek, there's a piece that's just gone up on the website that I thought was quite interesting, quotes from Stephen Presley, and he's talking about why he feels Alfredo Morelos counterintuitively might work in Rangers' favour that he's not playing. I've posted that in the comments there if you want to have a look at it, folks. He's basically saying that the last Old Firm game was decided on domination of the ball, and Rangers couldn't press Celtic the way that they should have been able to disrupt that. And he feels that Kemar Roof is more suited to the kind of high pressing game that Rangers might have to adopt to get the ball off Celtic in dangerous areas. And he goes, he's a big fan of Morelos. He says that he's a quality player, but in this kind of game where that's the tactic, he says he thinks Kemar Roof's actually a better option. I don't know what you think of that, Joshua.
I think Roof, what Roof does sometimes better than Morelos for me is he cuts off the passing lanes quite well, and he always averages pretty high pressure numbers, and I think he's an intelligent worker off the ball. But so you can understand that, but equally I just think what Morelos gives you as a whole package comparatively is so beneficial. I mean, undoubtedly there's been points in this season where Morelos hasn't tracked his man when Rangers have went to press well enough. I don't think many people could disagree with that or argue with that, and I think that's been highlighted a fair few times. And it's an element of his game that at points isn't probably quite there. You can definitely tell the difference sometimes in what Morelos gives off the ball, in my opinion, compared to in a European game compared to a Scottish Premiership game. And I also think a small detail that Roof does pretty well, and obviously sometimes it's deliberate that you want to force a long ball and regain possession, but I think what Morelos often doesn't do is try and regain the ball high, whereas Roof maybe does. But I think it's still a net negative if Morelos isn't in that starting 11, undoubtedly. But as I say, it's a different situation. Roof coming into the team compared to a couple of months ago when he hadn't made goal contributions, and it wasn't looking as sharp as he did in the kind of few weeks before this international break.
This point from multiple man Joshua, it says Roof doesn't suit the tactical move when Lundstrom drops in and Kent supports Morelos. I think it's a fair comment. We've not really seen it much. Alfredo Morelos is the main man. We all know this, but it's certainly an opportunity. It looks like for Kemar Roof to really step up to the plate. And remember, he scored 2 goals against Celtic last season, albeit it was a different Celtic side. But he is for me the best finisher at the club. And it's a real opportunity for him. He has looked sharp in his last 2 games against Red Star and Dundee. For me, I don't have any qualms about him playing there, but would you have some technical issues with him going up there? Because he isn't Alfredo Morelos at the end of the day, is he?
No, different player, and you're right. He is the best statistically. He's the best finisher at the club. I've not got the numbers in front of me, but has been in both of his seasons in terms of how he takes opportunities and his tendency to score from low value opportunities. I think it's a good point. I mean, as we were discussing yesterday, I wouldn't start with the back 3. I'd start with the back 4. I think going off Van Bronckhorst's comments after the Dortmund game when he spoke about the back 4 being more aggressive and the back 5 being an option, I tend to think that you'll want to commit as many men forward to press Celtic aggressively from the start, and I think that the 4 lends itself to that. But as the comment says, Lundstrom dropping in is something that Rangers have done with regularity, and as Craig Vickers outlined on the website this week really well, I think that could be a pretty valuable move if you want to stunt Celtic, if you're protecting a lead, certainly if you're sitting in for periods of the game, and we've seen how smoothly Rangers move into that end game, which is obviously encouraging. Roof doesn't give you that same almost front pairing in terms of ball carrying, which again we discussed yesterday, me and Johnny, which Morelos definitely does in space, specifically in Europe. You think of the goal that was chopped off for offside that Kent scored against Dortmund to make the game 3-2 on the night, that Morelos and Kent win the ball back and break quickly up the pitch. I don't think Roof scores that type of goal. I just don't think it's his game. I don't think he's as comfortable attacking space. But in saying that, I guess Rangers will hope to dominate more of the ball than they did in the previous game, so it would perhaps be more suited to the game at Parkhead, where Roof just couldn't get into the game at all. So yeah, I don't think it suits it quite as much. You also obviously have Fashion Sakala to consider as well. I know he's not played centrally, but I'm sure he'll be within the conversation. And yeah, fingers crossed. Listen, fingers crossed that Morelos can play. That's the big hope. But
yeah,
based on yesterday, it's hard to see what's actually going to happen.
Yeah. We need to get into that, because look, as we understand at the moment, we can't say he's 100% out.
Yeah.
But it seems highly, highly likely he's going to be out. He was on his way to London. The photos are real. He was on his way to London to see a specialist with a Rangers member of staff. So if you're on the way to London in crutches on Friday, what are the chances you're going to play on Sunday? So I think you have to be realistic, guys. I'm noticing a lot of people saying, no, these pictures are fake. That's not our understanding of the situation. So I think it seems to be that Morelos is going to be certainly out on Sunday, and there are other outlets reporting that he will miss potentially both Braga games as well. So it looks like it's going to be a bit of a change-up there. There's no doubt about that. And we will get the definitive answer on that at 2 p.m. today when we go into the press conference with Giovanni van Bronckhorst. Derek's going to be doing that himself. But it certainly, the situation looks like you'd have to say that Morelos will not make the game on Sunday. I mean, stranger things have happened. We said that Aaron Ramsey wouldn't sign for Rangers, and look what happened there. We didn't think that would happen. So football's a funny game, and things can turn on their head. But common sense tells you if you've got crutches and you're in an airport heading down to London, that wouldn't be how you would want to prepare for a game on Sunday, is it? It's certainly not. And, you've got to take that as read.
Yeah, definitely. One other point I wanted to touch on, Johnny, you've got a piece on the website this morning with regards to Rangers taking on an Ange Postecoglou side, and the fact that he just plays the one way. We all know how he's going to play at Ibrox. He said that as much. He's went on record and said he plays the same way. So Rangers should know what to expect when Celtic come calling at Ibrox on Sunday.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me in the piece is just the notion that Rangers know what Ange Postecoglou is going to do.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on him. He is 100% open. This is the way we play. I'm not going to change. He said it time and time and time again. I believe in this system. I believe in this style. And this is the way we do it because I think this is how we're successful. Now, that's great for him, but there's no doubt if you know how an opponent is going to set up, that is an advantage. If you're not sure, if you're uncertain about how players are going to play within a system, etc., it does lend a level of disruption to your plans. But if you know exactly pretty much how they're going to play, exactly what they're going to do, then you can prepare to counteract that. And that's the advantage that I see Rangers to have. I always back a pragmatist over an ideologue in football, and certainly in Scottish terms. It's different down south where you've got the riches of Man City for Pep Guardiola, and certainly Guardiola is the one guy in his career that's always been able to make that work. But in terms of Scotland, you look back at the great Rangers managers, they've all been pragmatists, perhaps with the exception of Steven Gerrard, who had a very fixed idea of how he wanted to play. But Walter Smith would completely change up his side for Old Firm games and play rope-a-dope, and that's how he would do it. And then you go to Alex McLeish, who came in and noticed in a European game that Celtic struggled against a 4-3-3 and adapted his team to a 4-3-3. He didn't have a fixed idea of how he wanted to play. He just thought, what's the best way to overcome our opposition? And he went on to become a treble-winning Rangers manager. Walter coming back a second time. Walter was the ultimate pragmatist. He went up against Barcelona. This is a team that's taken 4, 5, and 6 off teams in Scotland and plays the kind of football that Leo Messi called anti-football. So the successful managers, certainly of the last 25, 30 years at Rangers, the ones that really stand out, have often been guys that have been able to change up and adapt to circumstance. And I think that's, an important part of football management. And Giovanni van Bronckhorst has shown himself to be capable of changing games in the moment, and that's rare. That's a sign of a good manager, because the pressure and the intensity of the occasion can muddle thinking. But he seems to be clear-sighted about these things, and you'd hope that going up against Celtic, he'll have a detailed plan of how to deal with them, and you'll look back on that game. One of the crucial things he said to me, or he said to me, not to me personally, after the Red Star game, the first one, he said, having seen them close up, I really feel like I have a completely different perspective of what they can do, and that'll really help me in the second leg, or words to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. I hope that's going to be the case against Celtic as well. That the fact that he's now seen exactly what they can do, that's a completely different educational experience for a football manager. Hopefully that stands them in a lot better stead in terms of stopping them.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice comment there from George Thompson. Thank you for your kind words, George. Great to see that you're enjoying the content. Right, just to finish up, lads, just a bit of fun prediction-wise. Joshua, what's it going to end up on Sunday? We're going to both be there watching the game for the Rangers review. How do you see it going?
Firstly, I think that's a great point by Johnny, and I think it was after the Dortmund game. It's certainly one of the European ties, and it's a really interesting comment that Van Bronckhorst made, and I totally agree. I can't remember in what question that was in response to, but he was pretty, he really wanted to emphasise the difference in watching a team in person and playing against them and whatnot. So fingers crossed that comes to fruition. In terms of
just giving you an intro, haven't I?
Yeah, I took a note of it. I took a note of it because anything like that, I love it. A little anecdote. Hopefully on Sunday I can use that for a colour piece to see how he turned it around. But I think 2-1 Rangers. I think it'll be really tight. I do think that if Rangers play higher up the pitch and don't give Celtic control, they have weaknesses, as we've highlighted on the site. I also think that Celtic will take a lot of confidence from the last game and think there's vulnerabilities there. But I think Rangers' more structured midfield will help. I think they'll be more compact as a team, and I think the crowd will play a big part. So 2-1 Rangers for me.
There's a lot of positivity in the chat.
I echo it. I think Rangers are going to win. I think 2-0. I don't think it's going to be a game with a lot of chances, probably. I think it'll be very, very close, quite similar to the previous game at Ibrox. But I think Rangers have got enough to get through this. The confidence that they must have taken from putting out Dortmund can't be underestimated. Celtic are not as good as Dortmund.
No,
I'd have fancied Red Star to put out Celtic, frankly.
Any team, I mean, Celtic in Europe have been terrible this season. There's no doubt about it. Domestically, they've got their act together, but in Europe, no.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I said it in the piece. The thing about Celtic is Ange Postecoglou deserves a lot of credit for setting them up in a way that they demolish Scottish dross. If you're talking about teams that are just set up to put 10 men behind the ball and hit with a long ball over the top and scrape out a draw, he's built a team that is very, very good at demolishing that because they create so many chances and they get forward with such regularity. But I don't think that style will necessarily translate so well to Europe. Now, I thought they had some decent results, to be fair, against Betis, for example. But you saw against Bodo Glimt, they were able to control the game. And Josh has got that great piece on the website, guys. I would urge you to go and have a look at it. The lessons that can be learned from Bodo Glimt, because they really did a number on Celtic in both games. And I think if you follow that blueprint, to use the cliche, you've got a really, really good chance of causing this Celtic team major problems. But there's no point in denying it, Derek. They are a good side. He's done a great job.
Yeah.
Because Celtic were an absolute disaster zone, a complete mess.
Yeah.
You know, Rangers won 4 out of the 5 Old Firm games last season, and it was a complete coast, wasn't it? In most of those games, it was never in doubt. So it's a tough one going up against them, even at the home game at Ibrox. But I have a feeling that Rangers are going to go and win this.
Yeah, I'm going for a 2-1 Rangers win on Sunday. Okay, folks, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for getting in touch with the comments. It really is much appreciated. If you've not taken advantage of the offer we've got on just now, just £1 a month for £1 for 2 months worth of content. And if you subscribe as well, you also get entered into a prize draw to win a tour of Ibrox from a club legend, no less. It really is a fantastic deal.
Derek, for 4.
For 4 as well. Look at that. You can take 3 mates, or a family can go. It really is a super offer. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe and take advantage of great content on the website, top quality journalism covering the club you love, and as I mentioned, that brilliant prize to win a tour of Ibrox from a club legend. Okay, we may be back later this afternoon, perhaps, with the reaction to the press conference. If not, just stay tuned to the Rangers Review site over the weekend and this afternoon for all the fallout from that press conference and all the build-up ahead of Sunday. Okay, we'll be back again maybe this afternoon. If not, we'll be back on Monday. Enjoy your weekend.